Welcome to the stage, D.R. Duke.
Thank you, Milo, for taking my virginity tonight.
Welcome.
Okay, I'm going to break with tradition a little bit. I'm going to read not from The Nervous Breakdown, but from my book, Band for Life. It's a novel that was published earlier this year. And it's about punk rock. I don't know who did that, but thank you. God bless you, whoever the fuck you are. So I am going to curse on your behalf. And this bit, all you have to know about this is that these are two teenagers, Jason and Pee-wee, in North Carolina in the 80s. Punk rock kids have been talking about moving to New York City. Have never been able to quite make it happen, and this bit is about sort of how it happens. One Saturday night, toward the end of April, I went to the record store to pick up Pee-wee. Pee-wee works at the record store. It must have been around 7 o'clock, and halfway home we stopped at a Burger King and grabbed a bite to eat. We should never have gone there. We should have gone to some place near the university where people were typically more tolerant. But even then, the manager might refuse to serve us, or the customers might complain or try more obnoxious ways to start trouble. That was especially true of poor white trash, and this particular Burger King was in a shopping center next to a Kmart where the bumpkins from surrounding counties came to shop. Still, we foolishly stopped there. Hold on, I'm going to get this mic up. And just as we should have expected, somebody threw something at us. An ice cube or french fry or something. And we looked across the room and saw 4 teenage guys smirking their way, at least one of them wearing a letter jacket from a backwater high school. Pee-wee still had his mohawk. I'd recently shaved mine off, and one of the kids yelled, "What tribe you from, the faggot tribe?" Pee-wee said, "No, I'm from the fuck you tribe." And that was it. There was no escalation, no sense that something bad was about to happen. They left a few minutes later, and we finished eating and walked outside ourselves, and suddenly I heard Pee-wee shout, "Jason, look out!" And the second he said that, somebody jumped on my back, bringing me down on the pavement. I went down hard, or me and the kid on my back both did, and somehow I managed to shut him, and saw another kid raising his foot to kick me, while smirking down as if to say, "Yeah, who's talking shit now?" I had no idea where Pee-wee was. I rolled over to avoid getting kicked and grabbed this kid by the leg, tripping him, and he and I grappled for however long and exchanged a few blows. I must have hit him pretty good, or maybe he just got scared, but he got up and ran away, and then I stood myself and saw a number of people in the parking lot frozen in place and staring with blank expressions. Then somebody else jumped me from behind, once again taking me down, and we rolled over and over on the pavement, duking it out. He was really strong. A farm kid, no doubt, and at one point, he had me pinned down, slugging away on top of me when he suddenly jerked his head back and screamed in agony while clutching the back of his neck. The whole scene was really confusing, but that one moment is as vivid now as it was at the time. He stumbled to his feet and staggered away, still clutching the back of his neck, and a second later, Pee-wee came running around the other side of the Burger King and said, "Let's go!" Everything was spinning. I kept looking around for the car and couldn't see it, and Pee-wee said, "Jason, it's right in front of you!" And so it was. We got to the car and peeled out of the parking lot, and I said, "What the fuck happened?" "What do you mean what happened? Those fuckers jumped us." "Well, I know that happened, but what happened to you?" "Well," he said, he saw those guys who were walking out of the restaurant, and he took off running, and one of them chased him all the way to Kmart. Then he realized the guy wasn't there anymore, so he went back and saw this other guy attacking me, and knowing the guy would tear into pieces if he joined the brawl himself. This kid, Pee-wee's very small, by the way. Knowing the guy would tear into pieces if he joined the brawl himself, he stabbed him with a ballpoint pen and ran away. The pen was still in his hand. He was very proud of himself, and for a moment I was too. There was a brief sense of celebration, a sense of, yeah, we showed them. But then I realized something. If that kid was badly hurt, we were deep in shit. I asked Pee-wee how hard he'd stabbed the guy, and he said, "Pretty hard, but Jason, I had to do something. It looked like he was killing you." "Yeah, but man, you may have killed him. I mean, Jesus Christ, you know what's going to happen? They're going to call the police and say, we started it, and you just know who they're going to believe. But we didn't. They jumped us, and it was just a fucking pen. It doesn't matter, man. He could die if you stabbed him in the right place. No. We got to get out of here. We got to pack up our shit and get the fuck out of here now." "And go where?" "Where do you fucking think? New York!"
But for a few minutes he kept saying it was self-defense, and there were plenty of witnesses who back us up. It was only a goddamn pen, that's all it was. Nobody could die from a single stab wound inflicted
by a goddamn pen. I said, Bernard, do you really want to go to jail? Because that's where we're going. And yeah, they might let us out in a couple of days, but that's still long enough for somebody to rape your fucking ass. That sold him. We got to her place. Suzanne, his sister, wasn't there. I started throwing her shit in the back of my car. I was bruised and bleeding from scrapes all over my body, but there was no time to think about that. I was so convinced we were about to be arrested. Then, as we were taking the stereo apart, Pee-wee suddenly announced he was calling his parents. I said, are you out of your fucking mind? That's like leaving the cops a map. Well, I can't just disappear. Suzanne's gonna come home and find me missing. They're gonna blame her. I've gotta call them, Jason. I'll tell them, I don't know, we're moving to LA to start a band, and maybe in a few weeks I can tell them where I really am. So, he called his parents while I died 1,000 deaths, thinking he was gonna slip up and tell them what was really going on. But he didn't. He stuck to his story. At first he spoke to his mom, but then his dad came in the line, and he, of course, spoke so loud it was like he was standing in the next room. His dad speaks very loud. Bernard, I heard him say, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay right there and stay in school. We've had enough of this, and if you drop out after all we've done for you, you can forget you're even my son. Pee-wee said, yeah, you've done so much for me. You guys don't even want me around. I'm serious, Bernard. If you drop out of school after all we've done for you, you can forget I even exist, and that goes for your mother, too. Then Pee-wee's face turned so red, it was almost purple, and he said, well, fuck you both then! I'm gonna live my life the way I want to, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do to stop me, you worthless, talentless sellout! His father's a playwright, by the way. Then his father hung up, and the click so loud it sounded like an ammo clip being slapped inside a gun. Pee-wee stood perfectly still. Then he moved. He threw the phone against the wall, smashing it. He picked up the coffee table and threw that against the wall, smashing that as well. Even as small as he was terrifying at that moment. With his inky mohawk and his face rage red, he looked like a miniature Travis Bickle. Then he lunged for the stereo, and I said, Bernard, no! Once again, he froze before he sank to the floor like a marionette whose strings had just been cut, and he cried. He fucking howled, man, and I knew exactly how he must be feeling since I practically been disowned myself. I couldn't take it. I went to his room where most of my things were likewise kept, and packed, and fucking prayed the police wouldn't show up before he pulled himself together. I listened to him cry till he was all cried out. Then he walked back with his eyes downcast and still a bit teary and said, yeah, I think we should leave Suzanne some for all the stuff I just broke. You think 50 will cover it? Let's make it 100. Okay, 100. Let's pack up this shit and get the fuck out of here. We left maybe a half hour later. Do you know, after all that, the police never did look for us. I know they never went to my parents' place, and I know they never contacted Suzanne. So I have to assume that kid wasn't badly hurt after all, or if he was, he may have thought I was hurt myself and been too afraid to call the cops. But even now, when I go home, I still think about that kid and wonder if he could still press charges after all this time. Or for that matter, if Mr. Wright could, or one of those other people whose property we destroyed. But every last one of you fucking deserved it. And as for all you others who likewise deserved it, nothing ever happened. I just hope fate took care of you. Thank you very much.